India's game-changing war machine Rafales are finally here. 5 of 36 jets landed today at the Ambala Airbase and received a thunderous welcome. Here's more.
A long-awaited moment. Indian Rafales receive a thunderous welcome after touchdown at the Ambala Airbase at 3:14 p.m. on Wednesday. The 5 multi-role combat jets greeted with a water salute as they landed. They were received by Air Chief Marshal R.K.S. Bhadoria. The first batch of 5 Rafales, comprising 3 single-seater and 2 twin-seater aircraft, entered the Indian airspace at 1:25 p.m. They were welcomed by Indian Navy warship INS Kolkata, deployed in the Arabian Sea. A brief conversation between Group Captain Harkirat Singh and INS Kolkata, an indigenous Indian destroyer, was later released to the media.
Indian naval warship Delta 63, welcome to the Indian Ocean.
Naval warship Delta 63, Arrow Leader, many thanks. Most reassuring to have an Indian warship guarding the seas.
Arrow Leader Delta 63, may you touch the sky with glory. Happy landings.
Delta 63, Arrow Leader, wish you fair winds. Happy hunting over and out.
They were then escorted by 2 Sukhois, 30 MKIs. Flying at a speed of over 1,300 km per hour, the Rafales reached Mumbai airspace at 1:42 p.m. and in an hour they reached Agra. The 5 fighter jets took off from Mérignac Airbase in southern France on July 27th and had a brief stopover at Al Dhafra Airbase in UAE. They will now be stationed in Ambala, where they will join the 17th Squadron of the IAF, also known as the Golden Arrows. The fighter jets will be formally inducted into the Indian Air Force in August in a mega event. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, with the Indian military beefing up against China in the wake of the Ladakh standoff, the Rafales itself are a big message. Experts say Rafales give the lethal edge to India against China. And compared to the Chinese J-20 fighters, Rafales are far superior. My colleague Abhishek Phalla files this report.
A fiery ascent, born and bred for battle. India's newest combat-ready fighters en route to joining the Indian Air Force. The first 5 Rafales have taken to the skies from France, headed to India. These game-changing jets are due to land at Ambala's Air Force Base on Wednesday. Game-changing because of their superior air power over Chinese fighters.
The big competition to Rafale might come from the Chengdu J-20, which the Chinese claim is a 5th-generation aircraft. But based on a lot of analysis, experts believe it's far from being one. And most importantly, while the Rafale is battle-hardened, having carried out operations in Afghanistan, Syria and Libya, the Chengdu J-20 has never seen any action.
This is China's J-20, the Rafale contender. The Chinese tout these 5th-generation stealth jets as their premier fighter plane and claim it's much more advanced to the Rafale, which is half a generation behind.
The Rafale is far superior to the J-20, which is the Chengdu fighter of China. Even though the Chengdu fighter is claimed to be a fifth-generation aircraft, I do believe the aircraft is probably at best a 3.5 generation aircraft. It's got a third-generation engine, the same engine as what we have on the Sukhoi, the AL-30.
We show you how the Rafales fare with China's premier jet, the Chengdu J-20. Remember, China's J-20s use the same engines as Russian Su-30s, which India operates. The Rafale engine is better in terms of reliability, longevity and maintainability. The Rafale's weapons load and fuel load of up to 1.5 times their weight, much more than the J-20s. The Rafale is an omni-role aircraft capable of carrying out at least 4 missions in a single sortie. The J-20s just cannot do that in one go. The Rafale is combat-proven and battle-hardened, used successfully in Afghanistan, Libya, Syria and Iraq. But the J-20 hasn't seen any action so far. And the Meteor missile on the Rafale makes it far more lethal than the J-20.
I do believe that the stealth characteristics of the J-20 are also suspect. It's got canards in front, which definitely is indicative of the fact that its stealth cannot be too good. Its weapon systems, capabilities, its performance, I don't think would be a patch on what the Rafale brings to the field.
The long-range Scalp mounted on the Rafales can take out air-to-ground targets over 500 kilometers away. Meteor missiles can hit targets that are well out of visual range. And the Mika missiles can be used both for visual and beyond visual range engagements in the air.
The Rafale brings with it a package of weapon systems that is tried and tested, making it a potent machine. And what's most significant is the fact that not just the Rafale fighter jet, but also the Indian Air Force pilots and the ground crew is fully ready to make sure that the Rafale can be pressed into action in a very short notice if required. With camera person Sanjeev Kumar, Abhishek Bhalla in New Delhi for India Today.
Colleague Abhishek Bhalla joins us where the 5 birds landed at the Ambala Airbase. Abhishek, if you were to compare now India's air power to, say, our immediate neighbors, China and Pakistan, where does India stand?
Preeti, there'll definitely be a boost to India's air power. It doesn't mean that till now India was not in a position to combat the twin threat of China and Pakistan. In fact, with whatever resources were there, and some of them were the Su-30 MKIs, the Jaguars, the Mirages that have been doing an extremely good job as far as the Indian Air Force is concerned. But how things will change now is that until now the Indian Air Force needed 2 aircraft to deal or combat with 1 Pakistani F-16. That will reverse now. So the Pakistanis will need 2 F-16s to engage with 1 Rafale. So that's one big change. And other than this, right now it's only 5 Rafales that have come in. Very soon 11 are expected to come. And finally there will be 36, which means 2 squadrons. One strategically placed in Ambala and the other in West Bengal and Harsimara. So both locations extremely strategic. And from these 2 places, the Air Force will be able to launch operations in a very quick time if required. And as far as Ambala is concerned, it can easily take care of the western as well as the northern border simultaneously.
We appreciate you joining us, Abhishek. Thank you there. Now, actor Rhea Chakraborty has moved the Supreme Court in the Sushant Singh Rajput death probe case. Rhea sought transfer of investigation to Mumbai. This after a probe into actor Sushant's death case took a sensational twist. Rhea Chakraborty has been booked now for abetment to suicide after the late actor's father levelled some very serious allegations against her and her family. Legal counsel of the family said the actor's family reached out to Mumbai police in February this year, warning them of any harm to Sushant. The family is demanding immediate arrest of Rhea and a custodial interrogation. A team of Bihar police questioned Rhea Chakraborty at her residence already. Rhea has been accused of theft, forgery, breach of trust, and not just Rhea. Her father and brother have also been booked. Remember, Rhea and her brother Shaubik were directors in 3 startup companies with Sushant Singh Rajput. She's left now with two options, either to file for an anticipatory bail or she could challenge Mumbai's police move in court.
This FIR was registered on Friday. This should have happened on Saturday. But I don't understand why the police has not taken this step. But I'm sure at some stage, or maybe today or tomorrow, the arrest should happen and the custodial interrogation will give us the complete details of the entire conspiracy and who all are involved in this conspiracy.
All right, let's get you some news coming in from Mumbai, where a serological survey was conducted by the BMC along with the Tata Institute of Fundamentals Research and the Niti Aayog. Now, this study took place in July. The findings of the survey reveal, and that's interesting, a whopping 57% of the city's slum residents and 16% of those living in residential societies were once infected with the coronavirus. The survey also revealed that the infection rate amongst women were found to be higher. The sample size consisted of 6,936 residents from Mumbai's three wards, Dahisar, Chembur, Matunga. This comes amidst a fall in Mumbai's COVID cases. Maharashtra Cabinet Minister in a tweet revealed that low number of cases were reported while highest number of tests in fact were conducted.
Active COVID cases in Mumbai are 19,990, which is lesser if you compare it with cities, adjoining cities like Pune and Thane. So that is coming as a major relief for Mumbai. The doubling rate in Mumbai is now 69 days. Zero surveillance results came out yesterday in Mumbai, in which the prevalence in slum areas of Mumbai of COVID-19 in three areas where the survey was done was 57%, which means 57% people who were infected with COVID-19, they didn't even realize it. They were asymptomatic patients and then they recovered from it. The same prevalence in non-slum areas was 16%, which means still the number of patients who were COVID positive in Mumbai is quite high. But if you compare it with the death rate, then it's low. But the death rate of Mumbai also has to come down. If Mumbai wants to really claim that the cases curve are now plateauing, the curve is now, cases are now lesser being reported, but at the same point of time, to get a control over death rate in Mumbai will also remain very important. With camera person Mangesh Ambre, Mustafa Sheikh in Mumbai for India Today.
Meanwhile, Rajasthan is headed towards a constitutional crisis after the governor returned Chief Minister's proposal for calling an assembly session on the third time today. In more trouble for the Gehlot government, the BSP and a BJP MLA have moved the Rajasthan High Court, challenging BSP MLA's merger into Congress. Here's the full report.
The to and fro between the Rajasthan Chief Minister and Governor continues as the state hurtles towards a constitutional crisis. Governor Kalraj Mishra rejected the Ashok Gehlot government's call for an assembly session for a third time on Wednesday. Following yet another snub, the Chief Minister rushed to the Raj Bhavan. Hitting out at the BJP, Gehlot said the governors of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan have acted differently in similar situations.
मंत्रिमंडल ने रिकमेंड किया है प्रस्ताव को कि जल्दी से जल्द सत्र बुलाया जाए, तो इस पे माननीय राज्यपाल जी की सहमति देना स्वाभाविक अनिवार्य है कि मंत्रिमंडल ने उन प्रस्तावों की सभी चीजों को मान्य करते हुए उनसे ये तीसरी बार प्रस्ताव भेजा था। अब क्या बाधा है, क्या अड़चन है, जाके समझ में आए।
Gehlot held another cabinet meeting at 5 p.m. to discuss the contentions raised by the governor.
गवर्नर के पास ये अधिकार सुरक्षित है कि वो पूछे कि मेरे प्रश्न का आपने उत्तर नहीं दिया, आपका एजेंडा क्या है, इसमें आप करने क्या वाले हैं। जो शब्दावली है संविधान की, वो ये कहती है कि द गवर्नर शैल समन द लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम एट सच प्लेस एंड टाइम विच ही थिंक्स फिट.
In yet another headache for the Gehlot government, the BSP and a BJP MLA have separately moved the Rajasthan High Court, challenging the merger of 6 BSP MLAs with the Congress.
जिसको ये चोरी कहते हैं, बीएसपी के 6 विधायकों को ले जाते वक्त किया था.
BSP's legal challenge came a day after the party issued a whip to its Rajasthan MLAs, warning them of disqualification if they vote in favor of the Congress in the event of a trust vote. Bureau Report, India Today.
Meanwhile, the Union Cabinet has now approved the new education policy and renamed the HRD Ministry as the Education Ministry. The Education Ministry announced that students up to Class 5 will now be taught in their mother tongue or regional language. Making the announcement, Union Minister Prakash Javadekar and Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank said there would be a single regulator for all higher education institutes. The National Higher Education Regulatory Authority will be set up as the single regulatory body for the entire higher education sector. Multiple entry and exit systems for students will be introduced, just like in the United States. Under the system, students who wish to exit studies and then come back at any time will also be allowed to do so.
होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन की नई व्यवस्था लाई जा रही है, जिसका सबसे बड़ा अंग है मल्टीपल एंट्री एंड एग्जिट। आज की व्यवस्था में यदि 4 साल इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ने के बाद या 6 सेमेस्टर पढ़ने के बाद किसी कारणवश मैं आगे नहीं पढ़ सकता हूं, तो मेरे पास कोई उपाय नहीं है, मैं आउट ऑफ द सिस्टम हो जाता हूं। मल्टीपल एंट्री एंड एग्जिट सिस्टम में ये रहेगा कि 1 साल के बाद सर्टिफिकेट, 2 साल के बाद डिप्लोमा, 3 या 4 साल के बाद डिग्री, यानी और मल्टीपल एंट्री थ्रू एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट, जो नीचे बुलेट है कि मेरे जो क्रेडिट फर्स्ट ईयर के हैं, सेकेंड ईयर के हैं, जैसे बैंक के सेविंग अकाउंट होते हैं, वैसे ही एकेडमिक क्रेडिट में डिजी लॉकर के माध्यम से हमारे वहाँ पर क्रेडिट रहेंगे। इसमें ये भी व्यवस्था रहेगी मल्टीपल एंट्री और एग्जिट में कि जो लोग 4 साल का डिग्री प्रोग्राम करेंगे, जो आगे रिसर्च में जाना चाहते हैं उनके लिए अलग व्यवस्था 4 साल डिग्री प्रोग्राम, जो नौकरी में जाना चाहते हैं जैसे हम लोग यहाँ पर हैं, तो हम लोग 3 साल के डिग्री प्रोग्राम यथावत पूर्व की भांति रहेंगे, लेकिन 4 ईयर डिग्री प्रोग्राम विथ 1 ईयर MA and direct no MPhil, they can go to PhD.
All right, news just coming in. The MHA has issued a new set of Unlock 3 guidelines. 2 big points coming in. Night curfew now will be removed starting tonight, and gyms will now open from the 5th of August. New guidelines coming in for Unlock 3.0, night curfew to be removed across India from 9 to 5. Mind you, most states have had a night curfew. That will be removed, and starting 5th of August, gymnasiums across the country throughout states are open. All right, with that, I come to what we end the show daily with, by busting certain claims masquerading to be facts, especially on social media and other WhatsApp groups. There is a claim which seems to suggest Prime Minister Modi released the Ramayana stamps before Bhumi Pujan in Ayodhya. The fact check, this set of 11 postage stamps was released by Prime Minister Modi in 2017, not now, so false. The other claim floating about is lakhs of Shiva lingas seen in Shivakashi River in Karnataka. Fact check of that, the viral images are from Saharsa Linga, a pilgrimage place in Karnataka, so false again. With these 2 fact checks, it's a wrap on this edition of 7 at 7. We, of course, will see you tomorrow. Stay tuned. Up next is To The Point.
Prime Minister Modi